Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And on to today's order of business. This video is entitled, All Eyes on Fitz, because, my friends, as Devils fans, all of our collective eyes are firmly on general manager Tom Fitzgerald. What is Fitzy going to do? Wow, we have the NHL Awards show tonight. We are a little more than 24 hours away from the NHL Draft. The Devils holding that coveted 10th overall. Will we draft? Will we not? We'll get into all of it right now. A lot of rumors and speculations the last couple days, and I feel like I had to come on here and kind of talk about it with you all because I don't know if I'm liking everything I'm hearing. I don't know if I am. To recap the summer of Fitz thus far. Curtis McDermott signed to 3 years. Absolutely love it. The boys need him around. The sheriff, the enforcer. Mess with the Devils. McDermott's coming for you. Great order of business. Checked off early on. Not a significant move by any means in terms of wins and losses, but I do think for team morale and safety, Curtis McDermott, absolutely great signing. Love the man. A lot of people cried about that. Cry about it some more. You need a guy like this in your lineup when it's necessary, and he's going to protect everybody. Makes everybody feel safer, so I love that move. But then we get to the more significant moves on the season, and that was naming Sheldon Keefe the head coach. I think Sheldon was a great hire, one of the higher names on most people's lists, and I think it was a great hire, and I think he could do wonders for this group. Hopefully he proves his continued regular season success that he's had with Toronto, and he could find a way to win in the playoffs. Hopefully with these moves Fitz could make in the summer and in these next couple days, really, he could finally become a more perennial playoff winner. And we're hoping he does that with the New Jersey Devils. Love the Sheldon Keefe hire. And then we move on to the one that loomed over us for eternity, and that was, who are we going to get for a goalie? Is it going to be this guy, or is it going to be Saros, Markstrom, free agency? Finally get Markstrom. It was rumored we were going to get him from last season. The deal fell apart. Lots of nonsense back in the fourth in the media this year. Finally, Markstrom is here. Thought Fitz did very well on the deal. I did not want Linus Ullmark. And for those of you that are still crying about Ullmark, see the video I made a couple days ago about Ullmark versus Markstrom. The Markstrom deal was the sensible one for the Devils. Made perfect sense at the time, and it was the logical move. So I commend Fitz for that one and not falling for the Ullmark bait because, honestly, that guy's not worth $7-8 million a year. I'm sorry, he's not. That's a huge gamble. And I'm glad we got Markstrom. Hopefully he brings us deep in the playoffs. Let's go, Marky. Get it done. But I love that move. And then we had a couple insignificant ones. Shortly after that, we had, Graham Clark going to Minnesota for Adam Beckman. That's really a, more of a minor league kind of, it's not moving the needle one way or the other. So that's just a little move we made there. And then we signed Nick DeSimone to a one-year deal. I liked Nick DeSimone in a few of the games he appeared in last season. I thought he, was a little more physical than most of the other guys, blocking shots. I think that's a great depth move, and I think he's probably going to be a 7th or 8th defenseman on the depth chart. Great depth move, not a lot of money. Insurance policy in case of injuries or someone struggles. I like to see that. Now we are getting into these next couple days, to me personally, these next few days, a week, will define the Tom Fitzgerald tenure. And it's not been great. I mean, let's be honest. It hasn't been great. We had one great season in 22-23, and then we followed it up with the calamity that was this past season that just wrapped up. It can't happen again. I do believe Fitz is on the hot seat, and I think he's going to maneuver as if there's no tomorrow, which he should. He should be on the hot seat firmly. I think he's made a lot of missteps. The hoping and waiting last year for the goalies to play better never panned out. We drowned, and then we get 2 goalies on deadline day. Never made sense, and I think that was kind of a horrible misstep on his part, if I'm being blunt. Horrible misstep, and now this summer he's tasked with fixing this roster that ultimately he's responsible for. And so it was a great start with Markstrom. We have this number 10 pick in tomorrow's draft, and I've said time and time again on the channel here, I personally am in win-now mode, and to me, getting Markstrom for the 2 years left on his deal, that's a win-now move. And so you absolutely must continue to make win-now moves. And part of winning now, in my opinion, is dealing that number 10 pick, because whoever we draft potentially with that pick is not going to fit the window of Markstrom. It's not. At earliest, maybe, depending on who it is, the guy could be on the Devils roster in 3 years, maybe even 4. That's not fitting the win now window. And so I personally am now over the, looking down the line and the future is bright. We're past that now, and the time to win is now. Markstrom's here for 2 years. You need to make this roster as competitive as possible on paper before we head into the season to give this team a chance to make a run at a cup. And so win now to me is not drafting with the 10th pick. It would be ultimately dealing it for an impact roster player, or maybe a more strategic move in the way of a couple possibilities. Let me just get to my first, order of operation here. I personally would try to trade the pick for a top 6 winger. A lot of you have expressed wanting to trade it for different defensemen and different packages. I personally would not deal that 10th pick towards a defenseman simply because there's a plethora of defensemen available in free agency that we could sign and at a no asset cost, meaning we don't have to trade or give anyone up to just sign these guys in free agency. With that being said, for a defenseman, if there were somehow other pieces involved, whether it was other picks, prospects, maybe possibly someone taking on Palat's contract to get that off the books, if it's more of a bigger piece deal that fixes some other problems, I'd be open to it. But in a vacuum, trading the number 10 pick towards a defenseman to me is just silly and a waste of a beautiful asset in the 10th overall. Tons of guys in free agency we could sign. It won't cost anything, and so they should go that route. And in my opinion, if you're going to cash that 10th pick in, make it for a top 6 winger, preferably. I don't know who may be out there available. Haven't heard too many rumors. But if there's a possibility to land an impact guy who's going to be a top 6 winger, I think maybe not straight up, but using the 10th towards that with maybe some other pieces coming our way, that would be something I'd be looking at as a viable solution to improve the roster. And another thing I've thought of is, and it's not as sexy or exciting of a thing to do, is that maybe we look at either trading for a roster player in the form of a top 9 or bottom 6 type guy with a 2025 next year's first-round pick coming back. And why I say that is, again, we all know we have needs on the roster as is, and we dealt away our 2025 first-round pick to obtain Markstrom. Replacing that pick would be huge because if the Devils are a competitive team next season, which I fully expect them to be, I fully expect them to be a contender, competing for the division, firmly in a playoff spot for the season, heading into the playoffs. If that is the case, and this Devils team is a contender, you would love to have a first-round pick at your disposal to potentially trade at the deadline as a buyer. Hopefully we're buyers at free agency looking to bolster our team to get us over the hump to win a cup. And a lot of teams, when they're selling players off at the deadline, are looking for a first-round pick in that year's draft. We currently do not have one because we dealt it in the Markstrom deal. So I would also, with this number 10 pick, if I'm Fitz, I would be definitely entertaining a situation where I could get a roster player for now and replacing the 2025 first-round pick we lost when we sent it to Calgary for Markstrom. I think that would give you a player that helps us today on our roster, and it gives us that 2025 first-rounder to potentially trade at the deadline to bring someone in to push us over the hump while pushing for a cup. So I think that is a viable route to go as well. However, in the news the past couple of days, I've seen some troubling reports. Some troubling reports. And I'll just get into them, I guess, in the order that they rolled out. I made a video about this a few days ago. But Brett Pesce, rumored heavily by multiple outlets now for days. Carolina defenseman Brett Pesce, rumored to be signing with the New Jersey Devils. And, after sitting back and really thinking about it and analyzing it, while Brett Pesce would be an upgrade for somebody on defense, he certainly would be an upgrade, right? There's no doubt that he's better than whoever he's going to replace. While it is an upgrade, is Brett Pesce the type of guy that the Devils need? Is he the type of player that's going to help move this roster forward? Is he bringing elements that we lacked? All season long, I've talked about, I thought we were baby shit, Charmin soft, getting pushed around, bullied around, way too easy to play against. You saw the playoffs are a war, and the team needs to get tougher. And so I've been saying that all season. A lot of you have echoed that sentiment and believed the same exact thing. And then last week, Fitz had the quotes that he was looking to get a little heavier, a little edgier and a little more violent. Heavier, edgier, a little more violent. And so when I look at Brett Pesce, is he making us heavier, edgier, or a little more violent? And the reality is, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no to all three. And that is why it is discouraging to me to hear these rumors have so much legs. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe Pesce is an upgrade over whoever he's going to replace. Absolutely. And if we were going to get like Pesce and Zadorov, I would say, okay, I could live with that. I could definitely live with that. However, I don't think if we get Pesce, we are going to go get Zadorov or any of these other, more physical defensemen. I think Pesce would be the main thing you're going to see on the defense, and maybe we, find a more veteran, lower costing defenseman to round out the defense, or maybe not. Who knows? Maybe Hitaka gets a shot. There's a lot of possibilities. But when Fitz comes out and says we need to get heavier, edgier, and more violent, and then Brett Pesce is the rumored name, he's not checking any one of those boxes. And so I start to really wonder and say, is this punked? Am I on a hidden camera television show? Because again, when he said that, I said Fitz is saying the right things, but saying and doing are two very different things. And so for him to say that, and if Brett Pesce is our big defensive splash, I'm going to be very disappointed, because while he is an upgrade, is he the right type of upgrade? I don't want to simply just get a better guy. I want it to be a better guy that fits what we need, and we need physicality, and we need violence. Fitz said it himself. Pesce is not bringing that. And so that's very disheartening. Again, the asterisk next to that is if he gets Pesce and Zadorov, cool. But if it's just going to be Pesce as the major move on defense, he's not checking any one of those three boxes that Fitzgerald himself said he was looking to do. And so I really start to wonder what the hell is going on here, because if that's the direction you're going, it's just more of the same. It's the definition of insanity. We're setting ourselves up to be a soft team and get smacked around again. And it shouldn't be the case. And even more troubling, in the past couple days now, another Hurricane has been heavily rumored to the New Jersey Devils, and that is Martin Necas. Martin Necas. Now, again, don't get me wrong. Martin Necas is a good player, a good to great player. But, once again, I'm not just looking for upgrades on paper that, this guy's better than this. Necas would definitely be an upgrade in our forward group for somebody. Someone's going to get bumped down or bumped out, whatever it is. Is Necas heavier, edgier, or more violent? And the answer is also an astounding no. And so while I do value both these players, Necas and Pesce, the reality is the Devils have more pressing needs than what they bring. We need exactly what Fitz told us. Heavier, edgier, more violent. Neither one of these guys are doing that. And so it just becomes very baffling, because the messaging would not be consistent here. He said we need those things, and now we're looking at players that are not bringing us those things. And so it's very disheartening, and especially when people are talking about possibly trading the 10th pick in a deal to get Necas, I think this would be a horrific move, and I would be furious if it happens. I hope the rumors are nonsense. I hope there's no merit to them, because, again, you're not checking the boxes of what you laid out as the criteria. Heavier, edgier, more violent, 0 for 3 across the board. And so there's other guys out there that fit these roles, and these are the types of guys I want to see coming in. That's it. I have no interest in trading the number 10 pick for Martin Necas. None whatsoever. And so if that's potentially being looked at, then I hope we do either draft with it or find another deal, because Necas, to me, unfortunately, is not pushing us forward to be more competitive for a cup run. While he is going to be an upgrade, we need a very special type of upgrade, and I don't think he fits the role. And I don't think Pesce does either. Now, if you're telling me we're getting these guys and there's all these other moves on deck, then I would say fine. But I don't know that I have the faith in Fitzgerald to do that. If he goes and gets Pesce and Necas, where's all the toughness coming from? Is he going to go get another defenseman, a grittier defenseman? Is he going to find one of those and then go find one or two gritty forwards? I don't know that he has it in him to do this complete overhaul in one summer. And so I hope that the rumors are nothing more than that. We will find out. The draft is a little more than 24 hours away. Free agency is opening up in a few days. And there's a lot of possibilities out there, but I really hope that we find a better situation to deal the number 10 pick or just draft with it, because if we're going to trade it for Martin Necas, I think that's a huge fail, and it'd be a huge mistake. But let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys want Pesce if that's going to be our only big move on defense? I certainly don't. I would take him in conjunction with a Zadorov, but I think that's a pipe dream. I think if we get Pesce, that's kind of the end of bigger name acquisitions on the blue line. Let me know what you guys think about that. And what do you guys think about trading the number 10 for Martin Necas? I'm an absolutely not. I'll be curious. I think some people are getting excited by it. Let me know what you guys think about Necas. And I also think some of these things have become almost, the fans I feel like are almost so beaten down at this point that they will applaud almost any player that seems like an upgrade, right? So it's like, oh, this guy's better than what we got, so that's, a good move. But that's just because we've been beaten down and the expectations and the bar has been set so low. No, we should be demanding greatness. Greatness. And obviously we haven't got greatness, in my opinion, at the general manager position in quite some time. And just making these paper upgrades, to me, is not really doing the team justice. And so I personally will be furious if we trade the number 10 pick for Necas. I don't think that's the right thing to do. And he has to follow what he said. Practice what you preach. You said heavier, edgier, more violent. The two guys being heavily rumored to us right now provide none of those, and so I'm going to say it's nonsense. That is not what we should be doing, and I hope that it's just rumors and that I'm proven wrong. I'm trying to stay optimistic. Seeing these rumors and hearing them, it's a little disheartening, but who knows if they have any merit. I mean, there's just been so many that I think there's got to be something to it. But time will tell. All eyes on Fitz. This is a huge 36, 48-hour window. And I do think this summer is ultimately going to define his legacy. And whether he's here long into the future or if he's eventually shown the door at some point next season or next summer. Because the seat has to be hot. We just can't have the season we had in 22, 23, and then have the flop of a season we had last year, and then with all this regression and these steps backwards. It's just not acceptable, and we need to keep it moving. The nucleus ages quicker than you realize. Years fly by, and these guys have been playing on crap teams. Nico Hischier has been to the playoffs twice. I mean, Tampa worked us over in 5 games, and then he finally made it back with Jack and the boys, and beat the Rangers in 7 and then got decimated by the Canes. But you got to get there consistently before you could make the big push, and the pieces are there for the taking this summer. So let's see what Fitz does. We're a little more than 24 hours away from the draft, free agency opening, but I'm hoping he pulls off a miracle at the number 10 pick. If he trades it for Martin Necas, that is not a miracle. That's just, I don't even know what to call it to be said. But let me know what you guys think in the comments about the draft, these names being rumored to us, anything and everything Devils hockey. If you're new to the channel, poke around. There's a lot of videos in the past week or two about Devils news and events. Thank you all for watching. I will be back soon. Hopefully the NHL awards are an entertaining ceremony. I know Luke's basically just going there to watch Bedard get the Calder as Rookie of the Year because that was locked up for Bedard a long time ago. But it's nice to see Luke get the mention and to get the invite to the ceremony, so that'll be interesting. But I think that's all I got for you guys now. I will be back later. I'm hoping some news breaks and there's something to get excited about. But until then, stay cool in the summer heat, and I'll be back later. Love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.